Hello everybody, Irina is here, and in today's video I would like to share with you 6 practical tips on how to stop translating in your head. When you learn a foreign language, in our case it's English, it's quite a common thing to try and translate everything using your first language. Unfortunately, English grammar does not necessarily work in exactly the same way as grammar in your language. So let's have a look at my tips. Tip number 1 is limit the use of Google Translate. Google Translate is a very good tool, and I use it too as well, especially when I don't know how to pronounce the word, or I need to look up the meaning of it, or if I want to get the gist of the phrase my student is asking me about. Unfortunately, it can backfire on you. And as you know, Google Translate exists for translating things, but not doing them in the right order and in the right manner. So please limit your use of it. My next tip is use monolingual dictionary. Monolingual dictionary is the one which is only in English. It doesn't have equivalents in your first language. Why is it good? Because when you use bilingual dictionary, obviously you learn only the equivalent of that word and what it means in your language. For example, the word apple, in Russian it's яблоко. So if I use a bilingual dictionary, I don't learn anything, I will only learn the equivalent. But if I use monolingual dictionary, I will know that apple it's a juicy fruit which can be red, green or yellow, and it's very tasty. So straight away in my head I will have a concept. And I will keep this concept. I will move on from my first language. So use bilingual dictionary. Tip number 3 is read a lot. Meaning read a lot in the language you learn. Or in our case it's English. Try to spend at least maybe 20 or 30 minutes daily reading anything. It can be I don't know, fictional literature, it can be a newspaper article, but it will help you a lot. Plus, if you see a new word, try to learn it in a new concept, in a sentence. Also, you can use here those post-it notes. For example, I wrote a sentence, and you try to write sentences on those post-it notes too. I like to drink tea in the morning. So this is my example. Let's say I'm learning the concepts in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, or whatever. I can stick this picture somewhere in the kitchen, near where my kettle is and my cups, and I get up in the morning, so I make myself a cup of tea, and I can see this phrase there, a post-it note, and it's there. Oh yeah, I like to drink tea in the morning, so I learn it in a context. Tip number 4 is listen to English. And by this I mean when you're doing something else which doesn't need your 100% concentration, for example you're cleaning, cooking or gardening, listen to your favorite English podcast or maybe a radio program or TV program. Although you are not actively concentrating on it, it will be in the background and you will remember a word or two, maybe a useful phrase. Also you will listen to intonation and different dialects, so it's very useful as well. So listen to English. Tip number 5 is think and speak in English. And by this I mean like thinking process and speaking. Again, for example, you are cooking something in the kitchen. Try to articulate everything. For example, you should say, so say it aloud. Well, I'm chopping my onions. After that I need to fry them. The next step is to grate my carrots and add them to the onions and then fry them as well. Although it sounds a bit silly, but you are articulating everything, so you're saying everything. So the same when you're on a bus, obviously you will be in public and probably people will not understand you if you start saying everything aloud, so think in English. Well, as I said, when you're on a bus, so you can say, for example, oh, here's a bookshop, there is a dangerous driver, here's a cyclist on a bike, and so on and so forth. So you are saying everything aloud, and it's a very good tip. And the final tip is make it daily. Meaning like don't dedicate 24/7, but dedicate at least maybe 20 minutes to one of those tips which I mentioned. So practice them daily, and believe me, you will move on from translating in your head. You will start thinking and using English more often and more accurately. I hope my tips make sense and are helpful. So thank you for watching. Bye bye.